Hello there. In this video, I am trying something new. So join me on the journey. The thing that's new is testing out some tools to make measurement and evaluation easier. I have been very fortunate to have people reach out to me and say, hey, Alaina, would you like to share this tool with your community of people super interested in measuring and evaluating in the most cost-effective and fun, intuitive ways? And I'm like, sure. And it gave me the idea. I've got my own tools, and people who learn about them kind of like them. So I figured in this video is going to be the start of many that introduces you to tools that make measurement easier. That's why we're all here, right? I'm Dr. Alaina Szlachta. I host the Measurement Made Easy community of practice. It's free, and it's for anyone who wants to get better at measuring and evaluating learning outcomes. You're probably wondering, how many times can I say measuring and evaluating? Trust me, I'm very well practiced, and it's a lot. The point is, I am here because I really care about helping anyone that wants to use data for good to show the outcome of their work and the value of the things they do every single day. That's what this community is for. That's what these videos are for. And in this particular video, it will be short and sweet. I want to introduce you to one of my favorite tools. And this will be the first of many tool videos coming soon. So what's the first tool? It is your measurement match. So there are 40 or more, and still counting, measurement tools, models, frameworks that are available to you. Did you know that? Yeah, that's a lot. Most of us know Kirkpatrick, the Phillips ROI model. Maybe we know Brinkerhoff success case method. Maybe we're familiar with Will Thallimer's learning transfer evaluation model. If you know some of those other models, you're well advanced above the most of us. I want to introduce you to a tool that will help you get connected to the model that is going to be the most useful for you based upon what it is you're working on right now. Here's the caveat. There is not a one-size-fits-all model. That's the problem. We think that we can use Kirkpatrick for everything. That's just not true. We think we need to capture the ROI of every training and that that's the gold standard. It's simply not true. There are many ways to measure and evaluate learning outcomes, or really the outcome of any project that you're working on. This particular assessment tool, it's literally 2 to 4 questions based upon the kind of project that you work on. And it will get you to the most useful model for whatever project it is that you are working on and the goals and unique challenges you're currently experiencing in that particular project. Are you excited? I hope so. Okay, so you will see in the show notes that there is a link to this quiz. It's free. I do ask for your email, and here's why. Because knowing a model is not the same thing as having resources to help you learn about the model. This video is not going to teach you the models. I will give you some tips on the top most popular models based upon a quick study that I did. But I want you to get resources to do your own studying and apply models that are new to you or that are new to certain projects. And so your email address allows me to share those resources to you automated. You can be doing this quiz at 3 a.m. You could be in Australia doing this quiz, and you would get an email almost immediately with the resources that you need to learn more about these models. So, are you ready to get started? What I'd like you to do is to click on the link in the notes below. It will take you to a quiz. You will answer a few questions, and then you'll get your result. What I want to share with you are the top results. So I've been doing this quiz and conferences and workshops I facilitate, and I have had 400 people take this quiz since March of 2023 when I first launched it. And I want to tell you the top 4 models and just see how they resonate with you. Of the 400 people who have taken this quiz, 20% of them have come to the learning transfer evaluation model as being one of the most appropriate models for their particular use case. Dr. Thallimer, you're welcome. So let me tell you just a little bit more about my experience, and Dr. Thallimer has a lot more information and resources, so don't just take my word for it. Please do follow up with these resources and learn a little bit more about this model if it's unfamiliar to you or you're working on a new project and you're using the model for the first time in a new context. So I have a few notes for you. What are the best use cases and why might it be the most common model that people are finding useful? And that is, I suggest, now Dr. Thallimer might say something different, but I suggest that if you have a one-time learning event, and many of us do, that would be your one-day workshops, that would be maybe a 1-week long seminar series or something like that that's designed to solve a particular problem or to address a certain topic of interest. Thallimer's model gives us 8 different data points in order to see how well the information shared from those one-time learning events is transferring to the job or to your real-world application. Some of these data points will not be relevant because of the design of your learning experience, and we just have to accept that. However, there are more opportunities to collect data to help you understand the application of the information to a real life situation. I think Thallimer's model is better than Kirkpatrick or any other model out there to give you the right data to tune in your focus to what should I be collecting and analyzing to show the transfer of training. That's what Thallimer's model is really good at. And he has a couple of different books and resources to help you create the right questions to get the data points that you need. Okay, so the second most popular model in this very informal and fun study of people just taking a quiz and doing it inside of conferences and workshops. What was the second most popular model? And that is the CIRO model, CIRO. And CIRO, let me make sure I say it right. I'm going to check my notes. CIRO stands for context, input, reaction, output. This model is best used for manager training programs. So the data tells me that many of you are working on manager-specific training programs. So if that applies to you, the CIRO model is going to be a great fit, and here is why. So the CIRO model looks at multiple levels of outputs in terms of what did the training do immediately after it was over. It looks at things like environment. It looks at things like peer level and behavioral level, and together tells a story of what came about because people participated in leadership and manager training. So if you're in that particular boat, definitely look into the CIRO model. There's lots of resources online and a book that you can read. It is an older model, but so is Kirkpatrick. So is the ROI model. It was, I think, originally came about in the 60s or 70s, maybe late 70s. That doesn't mean it's not valuable, but let me tell you, it's a model that not very many people are aware of. And by that virtue, it's sort of new because people aren't using it and therefore don't know its value to even be able to say how well it works or not to help them with their measurement strategies. So check out the CIRO model if you are doing manager training. What then is the third? And I'm going for 4, just the top 4. What's the third most popular model? That should come as no surprise to you. It is the Kirkpatrick model. So while the Kirkpatrick model is the most known and beloved in many, many spaces, it's also really useful too in certain contexts. I very vehemently disagree that Kirkpatrick can be applied to any training program. And I bet, I could be wrong, don't listen to me 100%, give me 80% credibility on this one. But if we had Kirkpatrick himself sitting here, Donald Kirkpatrick, he would probably say, yeah, don't use my model for everything. And yet in many, many contexts, we see the 4 levels of evaluation talked about as if they are the only levels and the only data points that we need to collect to show learning outcomes. And that is just not right. That being said, Kirkpatrick can be really useful. And here's the case in which I believe, and I believe Donald Kirkpatrick would agree with me, that their model and their book and all their resources are really great at helping you figure out what's the behavior change that we want to work backwards. So if we use the work backwards approach, many of you are familiar with that. We have a goal, a business goal. What's the behavior? What's the activity at that behavior level that we want to see employees engaging in to get us one step closer or to improve in some specific business outcome? Kirkpatrick's model is really good at coaching you through the thinking behind coming up with those particular metrics and then helping you think through, if you're not going to use an existing assessment, how do you create your own survey or observational approach to see if the data has, to see if the training has moved the needle in the ways that we hoped that it would. So Kirkpatrick is our number 3, not surprising. Now, here is probably maybe the second most surprising thing. I don't know. I think all this data is interesting and surprising. Here's a model you probably haven't heard of that I believe every learning and development professional should know of and should read the book. And I'm not getting any affiliate income from this plug. I plug it every chance I get because it's a book that I have by my bedside, my proverbial desk bedside, and I lean on it constantly. The book is called Partner for Performance, and the model is the strategic alignment process. So just hearing those words, you probably can guess what the best use case is. And that is, if you're trying to build better relationships with stakeholders, you want to have a more supportive, aligned approach with learning and development to an organization's goals. And you specifically are looking for help to figure out where are we at, how do we create an appropriate target, and then how do we use learning as a tool to help us move in the direction of the targets that we have. This strategic alignment process has incredible templates, has calculations and ways of thinking that are just so incredibly helpful. So those are the top 4 models. Like I said, there are more than 40 models, frameworks, and resources out there. So please don't just lean on these 4 models as if they're the only ones. They just happen to be in this very random data set of learning and development professionals. They happen to be the most popular, but that's still interesting news for us. So I hope that this video inspires you to go take a look at that quiz. It's a quiz that you can use time and time again. Our projects change, our goals change, our challenges change, our leadership changes, our jobs change. You get it. Change is happening all the time. And when you need to know, am I using the right model or framework to help me think through my measurement approach? This quiz is something you should lean into to give you those resources or give you one step closer to an answer to make measuring, evaluating, and using data just a little bit easier. Of course, I have to plug our live community. If you like this video, if you find these resources helpful, we meet live on Mondays. And as this community grows, we will expand the times. If you can't come at noon Eastern, no big deal. Eventually, we'll have more times to offer. But if you need help, you want support from peers, you want an expert to ask questions, to share ideas with, that's the purpose of our community of practice. And we do a little bit of learning and exposing people to different ways of thinking with a new case study every single week on Monday. So I hope that you will use these resources. My mission is to make measurement easier, and I hope that you will join us. Stay tuned for the next video. We'll see you then.